and welcome to Foundations of Adult Learning. My name is Jordan Christie and I'm going to be the instructor for this course. The goal of this welcome video is to provide you with an overview of the Blackboard course so that you're familiar with how to navigate and how to access the course materials. So when you first log into the course, you'll be taken to the home page. And the two important things that you'll find on the home page, the first one is the My Announcements widget. Each week I'm going to be posting a weekly announcement that includes a summary of the requirements for the week, so be sure to check there for upcoming announcements. And you'll also find the My Calendar widget, and this will include upcoming due dates for assignments. If you look at the left-hand side of the course, you'll find the left-hand navigation. So the next thing you'll see in addition to the home page is a link to your course outline. I've linked this in a couple places, but this is the first place you can go to find it. And underneath that, you're going to find a link to content. And this is where all of the course materials will live. When you click on content, the first thing that you're going to notice is a Getting Started folder. Underneath that folder is all the things you need to have in order to get started with the course. So again, you'll find a link to the course outline. You'll find a link to my instructor profile, so if you want to know more about me, you can click on that link. There's also a link to an introductions activity which will allow you to create a tag cloud and post it to the introductions forum. So this will allow us to get to know each other a little bit better. So you can see the instructions are listed here. You're going to be using a tool called Tagxedo, and this is just a fun tool where you can enter some words about yourself. You can play with the theme, the color, the shape, and get it to be however you want in terms of customizing it. You can then save it to your computer and attach it to the thread so that the rest of the class can see it. And underneath the introductions area, you'll also find a folder called Adobe Connect Resources. So this will include some resources on some best practices around how to use Adobe Connect. The rest of the content is organized into sessions, so each session will be organized the same way. So the first folder that you'll find under each sessions is a readings folder, and any of the required readings for that week will be included in the folder. The next thing you'll find is a videos folder, and all of the videos will be posted within the folder, so you can click on them and it'll open into YouTube so you can watch the videos. And then attached you'll also find a PowerPoint that goes along with the videos, so depending on which format you prefer to view them, you have both options there. Under each week you'll also find a link to your Adobe Connect room, which you'll be using for your tutorial. And then depending on the week, some of the weeks you'll have required discussion questions, so you'll also find those listed within the week as well. Underneath content, you'll also find a link to the assignments. So for each assignment, it will include an attachment with the assignment instructions, and all of the assignment information in terms of the due date and everything else will be listed there. Underneath the assignments, you'll also find a link to your Adobe Connect room again. Underneath that, you'll find a link to announcements. So again, whenever I'm posting the weekly announcements, in addition to finding them on your homepage, you'll also be able to access them under the announcements link. And the same thing with the calendar. As I mentioned, it shows up on your homepage, but you can also access the calendar through the left-hand navigation. Underneath that, you'll find a link to discussions. And the first one is a Q&A discussion board. And this is for you to post anything that you have in terms of questions about the course that you think that others in the class might benefit from or that they might be able to answer. So you can post your questions there. I've also included a social cafe forum, and this is just a place for you if you want to have an area to connect to things that aren't particular to the course. You can use this forum for that. And then you'll see the introductions forum, which we'll be using in the getting started area. And then depending on the week, so for example for session 1, if there is a required discussion forum, you'll find it listed there. So what you'll notice is that a lot of things are linked in different places, and I've just done that to try and make it as easy as possible for you to find things. The next thing you'll find under discussions is the message area, and this is a built-in messaging system within Blackboard. So you can use this to send me messages if you have any questions about the course, or you can also use it to send messages to each other or to a group if you're working on one of your group assignments. Underneath that, you'll find a link to My Grades, and as you're completing assignments and as we're marking, you'll be able to access your grades ongoing under the My Grades area. Underneath that, you'll find a link to groups, and you'll be using groups for the two assignments, your Scenario B and Scenario C. So the groups area will allow you to sign up for a group, and then it has tools for you to communicate with your group. And finally, underneath that, there's a help link. So if you have any questions about how to use Blackboard or any of the specific tools, you can access the help, which will give you detailed, specific how-to information. So that's a quick overview of how the course is structured. If you have any questions at any time, please don't hesitate to contact me. And the best way to do so is using the messages tool built into Blackboard, or you can also use the Q&A discussion forum if it's something that you feel the rest of the class would benefit from.